Hello everyone, in this particular video session I am going to explain about the seed. I believe that you have taken this video lecturing series seriously because I am not going to repeat this concept once the college reopens. Please note this point, I am not going to repeat this concept, got it? So I am going to complete this topic maybe by tomorrow, and after that I am going to start with a new lesson because I don't know how the condition will go, okay? So fine. So I have written everything on the board. Only the reason is I want to save the time. That's it. Okay. Seed. You all know that you have seen a seed. Like Lord, there are so many varieties or different patterns of seeds. You might have seen it. Correct. Okay. Even I have drawn the diagram of a seed here. Okay. So first let us see what is the definition of a seed. You could get this question. What is seed? Seed is fertilized ovule. Yes. So seed is the fertilized ovule. You can also write seed is the final product of sexual reproduction in a flower. That's it. There are three parts. The seed consists of three parts. Remember it. I have written seed coat is the first part, cotyledons the second part, and embryonal axis or embryo axis the third part. Seed coat mainly consists of two important layers. The outermost layer is the testa. Remember it. And the inner layer of the seed coat is called as the tegmen. Testa outer, tegmen inner. And you may ask me a question like how exactly the testa and tegmen are formed. Very simple. During the process of formation of the embryo, at that moment you know that the embryo sac is surrounded by a bunch of cells called as nucellus, which provides nutrition to the embryo sac. Okay, the nucellus is surrounded by two layers, that is inner integument, which is close to the nucellus, and the outer integument. The inner integument is nothing but the tegmen in future, and the outer integument is the testa. Got it? Okay. And what is the function of seed coat? It provides protection to the seed, that is the provide protection to the embryo within the seed. Cotyledons, you know cotyledons. If I talk about monocotyledons, then it is actually only one cotyledon is present in monocots. Dicot, two cotyledons, correct? Embryo axis or embryonal axis. Normally embryonal axis will be cylindrical in shape, cylindrical shaped actually. It consists of two parts. The upper part is actually called as the epicotyle, which form the shoot, whereas the lower part is actually called as the hypocotyle, which will form the roots. You know it. Okay. Here I have drawn the diagram of a seed. This is the seed of a dicot plant, correct? Seed, dicot seed. And you could see, you might have seen a small hole in the seed, correct? So you could see that, okay. That hole is nothing but the micropyle. That means micropyle also can have some functions in the seed. You have already studied about the function of the micropyle during embryo sac when I was explaining about the embryo sac, correct? So in the embryo sac, obviously, like during the pollen pistil interaction, the micropyle is the pore which allows the entry of pollen tube into the embryo sac, correct? Where the two male gametes enter. That is the function during double fertilization process. Now, in the seed, the micropyle is also present. That means a hole is present in a seed. That hole helps the seed to germinate. How it helps? By providing oxygen and water. That means actually the water and oxygen will be supplied through the micropyle into the embryo present inside the seed. That's it. Okay, during germination process. There are three different types of seeds. Okay, so that if I talk about the types, I have already written the albuminous seed and non-albuminous seed and perisperm. These are the three different types of seeds. Let us see what is albuminous seed. Albuminous seed in the sense the seed contains the endosperm. That means during the development of the seed, endosperm, you know about the endosperm, is still present within a seed. Got it? That is the persistent endosperm within a seed. And one more thing to remember, that in albuminous seed, the endosperm is not completely consumed by the developing embryo. That means endosperm is still present within the seed. That is actually called as the albuminous seed. You may get this question, and some examples. Remember this, you can just take down: wheat, maize, barley. Remember it. Non-albuminous, it is exactly opposite to this type, the albuminous seed. Non-albuminous seed in the sense endosperm is completely absent in a seed. That means endosperm was present during embryogenesis, but it was consumed by the embryo, correct? Okay, that means the embryo consumed the endosperm during its development. Okay, so you don't see the endosperm inside the seed. That kind of seed is called as non-albuminous seed. Example, pea groundnut, remember it. Okay, the third one, this is very important for 1 month, perisperm. What is perisperm, or define perisperm? And I told you that when I was explaining about the embryo sac, that embryo sac is surrounded by the nucellus, correct? The a type of parenchyma cells called as the nucellus. What is the ploidy of the nucellus? 2N is the ploidy. Okay, so here the nucellus is still present inside the seed. That is, the persistent nucellus within a seed is called as perisperm. It is not, I'm not talking about the endosperm, I'm talking about the nucellus. Okay, if you want, I'll write here nucellus. Nucellus is still present inside a seed. That is, that type of seed is called as the perisperm. Example, very important examples, black pepper, beet are very good example for perisperm. And you might get one more question for your board examination for 2 marks. Differentiate between albuminous seed and non-albuminous seed, or maybe for 1 mark, define perisperm. That's all about the types. Now we'll go to the third one, that is, what is dormancy? This is also expected question. It was asked in 2014 examination. Define dormancy. You can also expect this question for 1 mark. Dormancy. See, you know that there are seeds. You know that in the kitchen, you have a lot of like different types of seeds, right? You know that the pea seeds and groundnut, everything. All these seeds are now actually are dormant. What is the meaning of dormant? Dormant means inside the seed, what is there? Embryo is there. Embryo is responsible for the germination, correct? So how exactly germination occurs? If we just expose that seed to the water as well as oxygen, it will germinate. That means in a container, normally when it is protected from the environment, protected from the moisture, what happens? This particular embryo or seed undergoes a complete inactivity. There is a complete inactivity of the embryo or of the seed. That is actually called as the dormancy. Dormancy means it is the state of inactivity of the embryo due to slowdown of the metabolic activity to escape the unfavorable condition. That is called as dormancy. You please remember this, very important. I cannot write everything because the space is not adequate. Remember it. Okay. Seed viability. Now, what is the meaning of viable? Viable seed means the seed still have the capacity to germinate. That is viability. Seed viability in the sense like if a dormant seed is exposed to the moisture or outer environment, obviously it's going to germinate. That is actually, it is the capacity of the seed to germinate. Okay, here I have written 2 important examples of seed viability, very important for your need. There is a possibility because it is given in your NCERT textbook. There is a possibility for your board examination also. See, here the example one is Lupinus arcticus. Okay, so this particular species is extinct. It is not there right now. But during the archaeological excavation of King's Herod Palace, okay, so at that time the scientists discovered a seed of this particular species which is still dormant, and it is dormant since 10,000 years. So it has 10,000 years of dormancy. Got it? So that is very important. It is one of the oldest seed ever found in the earth. Okay. The second example for this seed viability is it has retained the viability, still it can germinate. Even this also can germinate if you just expose the seed to the environment. Obviously it will germinate. Phoenix dactylifera is the second example. Here it is having like dormancy period of 2000 years. This is the recently discovered seed, Phoenix dactylifera. Remember, this is actually discovered from Dead Sea, and this one was discovered from King's Herod Palace. Just remember, during archaeological excavation. Got it? Okay. Finally, coming back to this, the Xenia. You might get this normal. This is higher level questions. Actually, normally it will not be asked in your NEET, but still, just let me tell you what is the meaning of Xenia. You know that during double fertilization, two male gametes will be released. That is released from the pollen grain. Correct? Pollen grain is nothing but the male gametophyte. Pollen grain has two male gametes. Each male gamete contains nucleus. One nucleus will be there. Each nucleus contains DNA. Obviously, you know that DNA is there. DNA contains genes. Genes play a vital role in the formation of certain proteins. These proteins play a certain role in the formation of the structure of an organism. See, the male gamete, one of the male gamete goes and fuses with the secondary nucleus, correct? As a result, it forms triple fusion that forms, primary endosperm nucleus. The same primary endosperm nucleus in future, it's going to form the endosperm. Correct. That means formation of the endosperm require the involvement of one male gamete. That means the genes which are released, the gene which actually produces certain factors which play a very important role. That is actually the direct influence on the development of endosperm. Got it? So that means this particular gene play a vital role in the production of the endosperm. See, if the production of the endosperm cell is more, obviously what happened, the size of the seed will be more. If the endosperm production is less, the size of the seed will be smaller. This is very important. That means one of the male gamete play a vital role in deciding the shape or size of the endosperm. That means it influences the endosperm directly. This condition is called as the Xenia. Xenia is nothing but because of the male gamete. Okay. So which influences the endosperm directly. So that's all about from this session. In the next session, I'm going to talk about